Now I know it may seem a bit early to already discuss the Pixel 7, but considering that the development work goes into the devices well before they are ever announced, we figured we should get a head start and give Google as much time as possible to implement our ideas. I mean, they are listening to us, right? After using the Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro for a few weeks now, and having learned much about them, the way they operate, and interact with me on a daily basis, I've come up with just a few things we'd like to see from a potential Pixel 7 and Pixel 7 Pro. I'm Tim from Droid Life, and let's get to it. As many are coming to find out, the Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro do not ship with the best fingerprint reader. It's optical, unlike the ultrasonic models that Samsung uses on its Galaxy S line, which means not only will it blind you when you're laying in bed and don't place your finger just right on the screen, but the Pixel 6's fingerprint reader is quite spotty in terms of unlocking your device. Should the reader work and recognize your finger or thumb, it's slow to even unlock the device at times, with Google saying that's totally normal and due to it being, quote, enhanced security, or some other PR mumbo jumbo. I estimate that it takes about a second for the phone to unlock when using the fingerprint reader, and that's only if the reader reads correctly the first time. Looking at my digital well-being dashboard, I open my phone on average about 70 plus times a day, making my current concern that I am potentially spending more than a minute each day waiting for the phone to unlock. That may not seem like a lot, but that's over a half hour each month. In a year, that's about 6 hours waiting for my phone to unlock. When put in these terms, I think it's very prudent that Google implement improved biometrics on the Pixel 7 and Pixel 7 Pro. Whether it's splurging and using ultrasonic readers or bringing back the real pixel imprint rear-facing scanners like we had on the Pixel 5, Google needs to do something here. If you follow Android or Pixel news closely, you may have heard about the Pixel 6 Pro's charging speed drama. On the Google Store, Google highlights its new 30-watt wall charger, specifically stating that in order to get the best charging speeds, that's the charger you'll want to have. In the mind of the consumer, that leads us to believe that the Pixel 6 Pro supports charging of up to at least 30 watts. As we're finding out now, that's simply not the case, with the phone actually showing charging speeds max out around 23 watts, while the average speed for a full charge cycle is only 13 watts. Google didn't list or state the supported charge speed of the Pixel 6 Pro anywhere at the time of launch, but what we found is that the phone charges rather slowly, very unlike what Google's competition is bringing to market these days. While OnePlus has put much emphasis on how fast its phones can charge, Google seems very content on not boosting charging speeds by a great margin on its devices. This could be for noble reasons, such as device and battery longevity, but I'd be interested to know if it's possible for Google to allow us to somehow opt in to faster charging. For example, if there was a governor or charging throttle that could be dialed, granting a user the ability to boost charging speeds, that could be a pretty sweet selling point. I'm just throwing out ideas, but my main point here is that I'd like to have Google release a phone that takes advantage of its own 30-watt wall charger next year. The smaller Pixel 6 features a 6.4-inch display. Before this, I had the Pixel 5 for a year, which had a 6-inch display. 0.4 inches may not sound like a lot, but in hand, these phones couldn't feel more different. For the Pixel 7, I would love to see a smaller size option. For the Pixel 7 Pro, I'm absolutely fine with it being overly large, like the Pixel 6 Pro, but even the Pixel 6 is just a bit too large for me. Whether Google needs to make a Pixel Mini option or just seriously consider trimming down the entry size for the Pixel 7, I'd love to see something a bit more manageable with one hand. When outside and walking around, the Pixel 6 is still just a tad too large for me to be overly confident when handling it with one hand. I'd rather sacrifice a bit of potential battery capacity for something easier to wield. That's just me though. And speaking of hardware, can we do something about the icky, sticky, greasy fingerprint situation? While worse on other colors, the Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro are pretty darn good at picking up nasty fingerprints. And while I know plenty of people use cases, not everybody does. I know it would also help if I laid off the hot Cheetos, but this is my life and I do what I want. Honestly, I'd love to see a matte finish or frosted glass style from future devices. OnePlus did this for the OnePlus 8 Pro and I thought that looked rather sleek and nice. This last point, I don't want to catch a bunch of grief for, so I'm going to keep it very brief. Curved glass. It's just not my thing. I didn't mind it as much when Android's gesture navigation was still in its early days, but now that gestures are my main way of navigating the phone, I just don't like the way curved glass feels when using them. I feel like it misses swipes, as if I'm not going to the edge enough, which is made more difficult because it's curved. Plus, just from a fragility standpoint, I've never had a curved glass phone survive a drop. It just doesn't happen. I've busted a few Galaxy phones all with curved glass, yet I dropped my Pixel 5 about 100 times and it was always perfectly fine. Was that a curved glass versus flat glass? or just luck with the Pixel 5, I don't know. But as a personal preference, I'd like to see Google continue offering a model with flat glass. So there you go, Google, a few things for you to incorporate into next year's devices. In the meantime, what might you like to see from a potential Pixel 7 and Pixel 7 Pro? Different sizes? For Google to give up on Tensor and go back to Snapdragon chips? Whatever it may be, let us know in the comments section below. Until then, we're Droid Life. We'll see you next time. Peace.